They won't always slap you in the face. Sometimes, disrespect is quieter. It's not a punch. It's not a loud insult. It's a look that lingers just a second too long. It's a joke that cuts deeper than it should. It's the silence. When someone should have stood up for you and didn't. And in that silence, you feel it. That invisible sting, the weight of being dismissed, the ache of not being seen, the quiet way people tell you, you don't matter here. Have you ever walked out of a room and replayed a moment over and over, wondering if you were overthinking it? Wondering if that little pause, that shift in tone, was actually a message? Let me tell you something. You're not crazy. You're picking up on something real. Disrespect doesn't always yell. Sometimes it whispers. And those whispers, they chip away at you. Not all at once, but slowly. Like rust on metal. Like erosion on stone. And that's the danger. Because when it's not loud, we don't always defend ourselves. We question ourselves instead. But here's the truth. Just because they didn't say it out loud, doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Doesn't mean it didn't matter. So today, we're going to talk about how to face disrespect not by fighting back, but by rising above. Not through noise, but through presence. Because sometimes, the strongest response is no response at all. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt the urge to react instantly when someone disrespected you? Maybe they said something out of line, gave you that look, or stayed silent when you needed them to speak up. And your first instinct was to fire back, to prove your worth, to set the record straight, to make them see you. But here's the truth. The moment you react on impulse, you give away something precious, your power. Because when you react, you confirm the insult. You show them they got to you. You step into their arena, and once you're in their game, you're no longer playing yours. Real power? It's not in the reaction. It's in the restraint. It's easy to raise your voice. It's easy to clap back. But it takes a far deeper strength to stay still, to stay calm, to stay rooted when your ego wants to erupt. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, don't let their behavior turn you into something you're not. Think about that. Why should you lose your peace just because they lost their character? You don't owe everyone your reaction. In fact, most people haven't earned it. Some insults are thrown just to pull you into a storm. But if you don't pick them up, you don't carry them. And if you don't carry them, they hold no weight. So the next time someone tries to tear you down, pause, take a breath. And remember, your silence doesn't mean surrender. It means mastery. Because when you stop trying to prove your value to those who refuse to see it, that's when you truly own your worth. Let me tell you something that took me years to understand. You don't need to explain yourself to be respected. You don't need to defend your worth to be seen. Because when you truly know who you are, when you're rooted in your value, you stop performing for people who never had the eyes to see you clearly in the first place. And that's where your power begins. True strength isn't loud. It doesn't scream for attention or validation. It walks into a room and speaks through presence alone. You see, there's a kind of silence that's not weak. It's heavy. It carries the weight of self-mastery. The kind of silence that makes people pause, take notice, and think twice because they feel your energy, even when you say nothing. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We are not disturbed by things, but by the view we take of them." In other words, it's not the disrespect that breaks you. It's the story you tell yourself about it. Is this person's opinion truly worth your peace? Do their words define who you are? Are they just revealing who they are? And Seneca, another Stoic, reminds us, it's not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who craves more. Think about that when it comes to respect. The one constantly chasing approval is starving, but the one who needs nothing, that's the person others quietly respect because their worth doesn't come from attention. It comes from presence. That kind of presence can't be faked. It's earned through patience, through rejection, through learning to sit in discomfort without letting it shake your foundation. So the next time someone tests your worth, ask yourself, do I need to prove anything here? Or can I let my calm speak louder than their chaos? Because when you don't flinch, when you don't engage, that's when people realize you're not just confident, you're untouchable. Let's be honest. Staying calm when someone disrespects you isn't easy. It's not natural. Your ego wants to react. Your pride wants to fight back. But here's the truth. Most people never learn. The strongest person in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who stays grounded, even in the face of injustice. That stillness, that silence, it's not weakness. It's the result of something powerful, self-mastery. See, inner strength isn't something you're born with. It's forged through heartbreak, through betrayal, through moments where you could have exploded, but didn't. You swallowed the pride, you held your center, and you walked away not because you didn't feel the pain, but because you refused to let it own you. That's what Stoicism teaches us. That emotional control isn't about suppression. It's about sovereignty. It's about knowing you have the right to react and choosing not to because you value your peace more than your pride. And that choice, that's real freedom. When you stop needing to clap back, when you stop chasing justice in every small offense, you start rising above it. You stop being a slave to your emotions. You stop letting others dictate your energy. You become untouchable not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. So let me ask you this. Who's really in control? The one who lashes out every time they're triggered? Or the one who can sit in discomfort and say nothing and still feel whole? Be the one who chooses stillness over chaos. Not because you're numb, but because you've done the work, you've earned your calm. You know what's one of the most misunderstood ideas in life? Respect. We grow up thinking it's something we earn from others, that it comes from applause, from titles, from people noticing our worth. But real self-respect, it doesn't come from being seen. It comes from how you carry yourself when no one is looking. You don't need to prove your value to anyone to be valuable. You don't need to win an argument to be right. In fact, the people who are truly respected the most are often the ones who don't care about being respected at all. That's the paradox. Because there's a quiet kind of strength in those who don't chase validation. They walk into a room and never need to dominate it because their presence already speaks. Not with words, but with composure, with restraint. You've probably been in situations where someone disrespected you subtly or openly, and your first instinct might have been to react. Say something, defend yourself. But let me ask you this. What if the real power is in not reacting at all? Anyone can snap. Anyone can throw words in the heat of emotion. But to pause, breathe, and choose dignity over drama, that's not weakness, that's mastery. As the Stoics taught, the world can insult you, but it cannot define you unless you let it. Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So next time someone disrespects you, don't take the bait. Stand in your silence. And remember, real self-respect isn't loud. It doesn't beg. It simply is. Because when you know your worth deeply, you stop needing others to confirm it. Let me leave you with this. The most powerful person in the room isn't the loudest, isn't the one who wins the argument. It's the one who doesn't flinch. You see, when someone tries to belittle you, when they try to provoke you, they're inviting you into their chaos. But here's the thing. You don't have to attend every invitation. You don't have to play their game. Don't explain yourself to people who've already made up their minds. Don't react to insults that are meant to steal your peace. Instead, let your silence be your response. Because silence isn't weakness, it's clarity. And clarity is strength. When you stay grounded, when you remain unmoved in the face of disrespect, people notice. They may not admit it, but they feel it. They can't shake you. And that's the real victory. Not proving them wrong, not clapping back, but standing tall with nothing to prove because you've already won by staying true to yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't some fluffy motivation clip. This is a lesson in discipline, in self-mastery. And if you're ready to walk that path, if you're serious about becoming unshakable in a world that keeps trying to pull you out of yourself, then stay with me. This is just the beginning.